Hello friends. What happens when two of the most stubborn, passionate, and emotionally intense zodiac signs fall in love? Is it an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, or is it something deeper, something soul-defining? Today, we're diving into the deep, magnetic, and often complicated love connection between a Scorpio man and a Taurus woman. It's a union written in the stars, forged by opposites, yet somehow bonded by unshakable loyalty and desire. But is that enough to make it last? Let's break it down, layer by layer. Chemistry. Initial attraction. When Scorpio and Taurus meet, the air between them changes, literally. It's as if something ancient and primal is awakened. This isn't just a casual meeting of two people who happen to find each other attractive. No, this is the kind of encounter that feels predestined. The Scorpio man walks into a room like he owns it, but not with loud arrogance. It's quieter, more potent. His eyes are magnetic, almost predatory in their focus. He doesn't waste time on superficial chatter. He watches, he analyzes, and in a crowded room, his gaze finds the Taurus woman like a heat-seeking missile. She, on the other hand, isn't trying to be noticed. The Taurus woman never needs to beg for attention, she receives it naturally. Her calm energy, her grounded beauty, and her composed demeanor make her impossible to ignore. She's not flashy, she's not trying to impress. She's just present, and that quiet confidence intrigues the Scorpio man instantly. While other women might fawn over his intensity or try to decode him, the Taurus woman doesn't flinch. She meets his gaze with steady eyes, and in that moment, he knows, she's different. For Scorpio, who often feels like he's carrying emotional secrets others couldn't possibly understand, Taurus is like a blank canvas. Not empty, but open. She isn't trying to fix him, flirt with him, or manipulate the interaction. She's just there, fully in her own energy, and that authenticity pierces right through him. He's used to being the one in control, but this time, the control slips. And what draws the Taurus woman in? It's not Scorpio's looks, though he probably has an intense, alluring presence. It's the sense that he knows things. He's emotionally aware in a way most people aren't. She can sense it, his complexity, his intelligence, his emotional gravity. And while Taurus doesn't fall easily, she can't help but be curious. Who is this man who doesn't rush, doesn't push, but somehow makes her feel like she's already being seen on a level few dare to reach? This chemistry isn't loud or impulsive. It simmers. It builds quietly, almost secretly. It's the kind of attraction where both parties walk away from the first interaction feeling slightly off-kilter, like something profound just happened but neither of them can explain it. The Scorpio man might replay the conversation in his head for days, trying to analyze every word she said. The Taurus woman, who usually doesn't get swept up easily, might find herself smiling at nothing, remembering how his eyes lock with hers. The energy between them is magnetic, but not chaotic. It's controlled, elegant, like a dance between fire and earth. Scorpio is all-consuming passion, but Taurus is unshakable calm. That dynamic creates a subtle tension that neither can fully resist. They're drawn to each other not just by physical attraction, but by a sense of recognition. They're both fixed signs, which in astrology means they're stubborn, loyal, and resistant to change. But that also means when they fall hard, and they don't let go easily. There's something comforting in that for both of them. In a world of fleeting attention and shallow connections, these two sense that the other isn't going anywhere. Not without a fight. Scorpio is used to seducing through mystery and allure. But with Taurus, he doesn't need the mask. She doesn't fall for theatrics. She falls for authenticity, and the moment he realizes he can be himself without being judged, that's when he starts to fall. Taurus doesn't swoon at danger or emotional intensity, but Scorpio's presence is different. It's protective, focused, sincere, and in that stillness beneath his storm, she finds something she's been craving, a man who's emotionally invested. Their connection, from the very start, hints at something more than flirtation. There's already depth woven into their dynamic. It's not just the way he looks at her, it's what he's not saying. It's not just her beauty, it's the strength behind it. They don't even need to speak that much. Often, their early interactions are filled with silence, tension, and unspoken curiosity. But that silence isn't empty, it's charged. When they speak, it matters. Every word carries weight, every glance lingers longer than it should. And perhaps the most intoxicating part? Neither of them can figure the other out right away. Scorpio usually sees through people in seconds. Taurus typically knows within minutes if someone is worth her time. But with each other, they're left wondering, what is it about this person that I can't shake? It's not just chemistry, it's recognition, it's the soul remembering something the mind can't explain. A karmic pull. The Scorpio man may try to play it cool, observe from afar, dig for more information quietly. Taurus won't rush anything, she's patient, even a little guarded. But the gravity between them intensifies with each interaction. They may brush past each other at a party and feel the electricity without even touching. They may exchange a look across a room and feel like the rest of the world blurs into the background. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's unforgettable. This isn't the kind of attraction that fades. It's the kind that builds, layer by layer, moment by moment, until one day they look at each other and realize, this isn't just a crush. This is something far more dangerous. Because when Scorpio and Taurus are drawn to each other, it's not just about bodies. It's about souls. And when two souls recognize each other like that, the universe watches closely. Because what happens next could change them both forever. Emotional dynamics. This is where the Scorpio man and Taurus woman either make each other stronger, or slowly tear each other apart. Because when it comes to emotions, these two are speaking completely different languages. Yet, beneath all that difference is a rare potential for deep emotional harmony, if they can get past their default defenses. Let's begin with the Scorpio man. He is ruled by Pluto, the planet of death, rebirth, intensity, and transformation. That alone tells you everything you need to know about his emotional world. It's hidden, vast, and not for the faint of heart. The Scorpio man feels everything at maximum volume, but you would never know it from the outside. He's like a glacier, calm on the surface, massive and unknowable underneath. And emotions? They aren't casual to him. They are everything. He doesn't just want to love, he wants to merge, to understand you at a soul level. But the catch? He won't show you what he's feeling unless he knows, absolutely knows, that you're not going to betray it. Scorpio fears vulnerability more than almost anything, and so he guards it like a dragon guards treasure. This often makes him come off as emotionally distant or evasive. But the truth is, he's feeling too much, not too little. Now enter the Taurus woman. Ruled by Venus, she brings a completely different approach. Her emotional world is calmer, more predictable, and rooted in stability. She doesn't get swept up in emotional chaos because she doesn't allow it. She needs emotional clarity. She needs safety. She needs proof before she opens up, and once she does, she's fiercely loyal. But don't expect drama. The Taurus woman doesn't emote for attention, and she won't be lured into emotional games. What she offers is consistency, not fireworks. So when you put these two together, the contrast is immediate and powerful. The Scorpio man lives in the emotional abyss. The Taurus woman builds a garden above it. He thrives on intensity. She thrives on peace. He wants transformation. She wants stability. It's not just oil and water, it's volcano and mountain. But here's the twist, they need each other. Scorpio, for all his depth, often drowns in his own emotional waves. He lives in extremes, high highs and low lows. But Taurus grounds him. Her calm is not boring to him, it's medicinal. She becomes his anchor. Her emotional rhythm is steady, and over time, he starts to breathe differently around her. Less guarded, more open. And for Scorpio, who trusts very few people, that shift is monumental. For the Taurus woman, Scorpio is something she never saw coming. She's used to men who are either predictable or emotionally lazy. But Scorpio is neither. His passion, his emotional intelligence, and his loyalty stir something in her. He sees past her surface and touches the parts of her she usually keeps private. His intensity doesn't scare her, it intrigues her. It makes her feel wanted, chosen, seen. But this emotional connection doesn't happen overnight. Scorpio will test Taurus. He'll push her. He might withhold, retreat, or go cold, just to see how she reacts. This isn't cruelty. It's fear disguised as control. He wants to know if she's safe, if she'll stay, if she'll fight for him. The problem? Taurus doesn't fight for what doesn't feel emotionally reciprocal. She won't chase. She won't beg. If she feels emotionally manipulated, she shuts the door quietly and permanently. This is where the danger lies. Scorpio mistakes Taurus's emotional patience for indifference. Taurus mistakes Scorpio's emotional intensity for instability. And if they don't communicate, if they don't name what they're feeling, misunderstandings take root. Resentment grows. They start seeing each other as threats instead of partners. But if they do communicate, if they drop the games, the masks, the fear, they can unlock one of the deepest emotional bonds in the zodiac. Scorpio learns that he doesn't need to perform pain to be loved. That love can be quiet and still be real. Taurus learns that intensity doesn't always lead to heartbreak. That emotional depth doesn't have to destroy, it can transform. Their emotional dynamic is like a dance, slow, powerful, and full of unspoken trust. When Scorpio opens up, Taurus doesn't flinch. She listens, she holds space, and Scorpio, feeling that steadiness, starts to soften. He begins to realize that love doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be slow, gentle, consistent. Taurus, in turn, begins to understand the beauty of emotional vulnerability. Scorpio shows her that feelings don't have to be logical to be real. That it's okay to go deep, even if it's scary. That there's strength in letting yourself be seen fully. But it takes time. Scorpio wants transformation now. Taurus wants proof first. Their timing is rarely synced at the start. That can lead to frustration, withdrawal, even emotional stalemates. But if they can stay in the room with each other, if they can resist the urge to retreat or control, they'll discover that they're stronger together than they ever were apart. This emotional bond, once built, is unshakable. They both value loyalty. They both hold on to love like it's sacred. They won't give up easily. And that's the magic of this match. Once they've earned each other's trust, they protect it with their lives. But that trust has to be earned. Scorpio needs to see that Taurus won't betray him the moment he opens up. Taurus needs to feel that Scorpio won't destabilize her peace with emotional chaos. It's a delicate balance, but if they find it, they become one of the most emotionally powerful couples in astrology. A couple that's not only capable of weathering storms, but transforming through them. Together. Long-term compatibility. Here's where their shared fixed nature becomes a double-edged sword, and not just metaphorically. This is the part of the relationship that either becomes a fortress or a battlefield. The Scorpio man and Taurus woman are both fixed signs, meaning they're loyal, committed, resistant to change, and incredibly stubborn. That can be the glue that holds them together or the wedge that slowly drives them apart. It all depends on how they use that stubbornness, against each other, or for each other. The beautiful thing is, neither of them enters a relationship lightly. Casual love isn't in their DNA. Scorpio doesn't believe in halfway anything, and Taurus isn't interested in fleeting passion. She wants roots, he wants depth. So when these two decide to build something together, it's not on a whim. It's with purpose, it's with long-term vision, and that's the strongest foundation any couple can have. Together, they can create a love that feels unshakable. They are both intensely loyal once committed. Scorpio will protect what he loves with fierce devotion. Taurus will nurture what she loves with relentless steadiness. In a world full of flaky relationships, these two show up, stay present, and don't quit at the first sign of trouble. They'd rather fight through the fire than walk away from something meaningful. But here's where the storm clouds roll in. Because as solid as they are, their mutual stubbornness can turn a disagreement into a war of attrition. Taurus digs in, Scorpio pushes harder. Taurus wants peace, Scorpio wants transformation, but neither wants to lose. And neither forgets. This is not a couple that fights fast and forgives easily. Scorpio can hold a grudge like it's oxygen. Taurus can go emotionally cold if she feels disrespected. What begins as a small difference in opinion, how to spend money, where to live, when to start a family, can escalate quickly if not handled with maturity. Scorpio may accuse Taurus of being too resistant to change. Taurus might accuse Scorpio of being too controlling. Both might be right, both might refuse to admit it. That's the paradox of their compatibility. Their biggest strengths, loyalty, intensity, commitment, are also their greatest liabilities if they become unbalanced. When love turns into power struggles, neither one will be the first to back down. Scorpio, ruled by Pluto, is all about dominance and psychological insight. Taurus, ruled by Venus, is about pleasure and preservation. If Scorpio tries to change her too quickly, she'll shut down. If Taurus tries to minimize his emotional needs, he'll erupt. But here's the magic. When they choose respect over control, understanding over pride, they become an unstoppable force. Scorpio must learn to respect Taurus's need for stability, even if it feels slow or boring to him. He has to see that her routines aren't a lack of depth, they're how she creates a safe world. And Taurus must respect Scorpio's need for emotional complexity. She must accept that his emotional storms are part of his makeup, not manipulative, not dramatic, just real. That mutual respect creates breathing room. It allows them to be different without feeling threatened by those differences. And once that's established, they build like no other pair can. They're both invested in legacy, building a life that lasts. Whether it's a beautiful home, a family, a business, or just a shared set of values, they aim for permanence. They don't rush, but once they're in, they stay. That creates deep roots. They become each other's safe place, each other's ally. They trust each other to ride out the hard seasons, not just the easy ones. But none of this happens without emotional evolution. Scorpio must learn that not every emotional truth needs to be excavated right now. Taurus must learn that avoiding discomfort only delays necessary growth. If they resist this emotional growth, they may find themselves in a long-term partnership that's more about endurance than connection. It'll look strong on the outside, but feel hollow inside. So the real question is, can they grow together without compromising who they are? That's where long-term compatibility is decided. It's not about being perfect or always agreeing. It's about whether they can challenge each other without destroying each other. Whether they can disagree without disrespecting. Whether they can change, not because the other forced it, but because they chose to evolve together. The beauty of this match is that when they stop trying to dominate and start co-creating, they step into their full power. They become a true partnership. Not one person leading while the other follows, but two equally strong forces moving in sync. They become co-pilots. Each one has a hand on the wheel. Each one knows when to let the other take the lead. And when that happens, they're not just compatible, they're unbreakable. People look at them and wonder how they make it work. The truth is, they don't just make it work, they choose to. Every day, through the storms, through the silences, through the moments when it would be easier to walk away. They stay, not because it's easy, but because it's theirs. Built slowly, defended fiercely, and cherished completely. That's the kind of love Scorpio and Taurus can create. If they respect each other's needs, embrace their differences, and commit to growth over ego, they become the couple everyone else secretly envies. The kind that lasts, not by accident, but by design. Communication conflict resolution. This is one of the most delicate areas for the Scorpio-Taurus duo, and quite possibly the deciding factor in whether their relationship thrives or unravels. Communication between a Scorpio man and a Taurus woman is not just about what's said, it's about what's meant, what's felt, and what's left unsaid. And with these two, the silence can be louder than any argument. Scorpio's communication style is layered, emotional, and often steeped in subtext. He doesn't just talk to communicate, he talks to reveal, but not necessarily about himself. No, his instinct is to probe into the other person. He wants to know your secrets, your fears, your past wounds. His words can be sharp, but they're rarely careless. When he's upset, he doesn't raise his voice. Instead, he delivers cold truths wrapped in eerie calm. He asks the kind of questions that make people squirm because they cut straight through pretense. The Taurus woman, by contrast, is direct. Her style of communication is rooted in practicality and purpose. She speaks plainly, and often, sparingly. She doesn't enjoy debates, and she doesn't believe in digging where she hasn't been invited. She doesn't want to perform emotions, she wants to solve problems. And if a conversation turns into an emotional minefield, she checks out, not because she doesn't care, but because she refuses to waste energy on what she sees as unnecessary drama. This fundamental difference can create powerful misunderstandings. Scorpio interprets Taurus's silence as detachment. To him, every lack of expression is potentially loaded with hidden meaning. He starts pulling at emotional threads, assuming there's more going on than meets the eye. Meanwhile, Taurus interprets Scorpio's emotional interrogation as manipulation. To her, his questions feel invasive, his tone suspicious, his silence punitive. Neither of them is wrong, but both of them feel wronged. Scorpio may think he's creating intimacy by diving deep. Taurus feels like he's creating tension. Taurus may think she's preserving peace by keeping calm. Scorpio feels like she's building walls. They're both trying to protect the relationship, but from completely different directions. And that disconnect is where the real danger lies. Conflict, when it arises, can be intense and drawn out. Scorpio rarely lets things go. He remembers every word, every shift in tone, every pause in a conversation. He may not bring it up immediately, but it's cataloged. He'll circle back days or even weeks later, pulling it into a future argument like evidence in a trial. This can leave Taurus feeling exhausted and emotionally cornered. She values closure. She wants to say it once and move on. Scorpio wants to understand it fully, even if it means revisiting the same wound over and over again. And when Taurus gets pushed past her limit, she doesn't yell, she disengages. She shuts the emotional door. This isn't passive aggression, it's self-preservation. She needs internal peace like oxygen, and when that peace is threatened, she retreats into silence. This drives Scorpio insane. To him, silence is not peace, it's punishment. He'll push harder, trying to get a reaction, trying to shake loose the emotion he knows is buried underneath. But the more he pushes, the deeper she retreats. It becomes a painful loop. To break the cycle, both have to leave their comfort zones. Scorpio must accept that not every quiet moment is charged with secret meaning. Sometimes Taurus is just tired. Sometimes she just needs space. Not everything is a sign. Not every silence is a statement. And when she says she's fine, sometimes she actually is. Taurus, in turn, must learn to tolerate discomfort. She has to resist the instinct to walk away from emotional intensity just because it feels chaotic. Scorpio doesn't stir conflict for sport, he's seeking truth. And truth, to him, is love. So when he gets intense, she needs to stay open, even if it's hard. Avoiding his emotional storms only makes them louder. Meeting them with calm honesty can actually soothe him. Both need to practice intentional softness. That doesn't mean compromising their core personalities, it means refining them. Scorpio can still be intense, but he must aim for clarity, not control. Taurus can still be grounded, but she must allow emotional waves without labeling them as threats. They need to listen to understand, not just to respond. One of the best tools they can use? Clear boundaries. Scorpio needs to know that not every emotion needs an immediate answer. That space isn't rejection, it's processing. Taurus needs to know that conflict isn't always destructive. That confronting feelings doesn't always end in heartbreak. Setting boundaries around how, when, and why they communicate during conflict can prevent so much unnecessary pain. Another critical shift is learning to differentiate between emotional expression and emotional accusation. Scorpio often speaks from a place of deep feeling, which can sound accusatory even when he's just hurting. Taurus often speaks from logic, which can sound cold even when she's just trying to help. Recognizing these styles, and validating each other's intentions, builds emotional safety. When done right, communication between Scorpio and Taurus becomes one of their greatest strengths. Because once they learn how to handle conflict with compassion instead of ego, they stop fearing it. They learn that disagreements aren't the end, they're opportunities. Opportunities to grow, to reconnect, to understand each other better. In fact, some of their most meaningful moments can come after conflict. Scorpio, having shared something raw, feels seen. Taurus, having stayed present through the emotional storm, feels trusted. They grow closer, the bond deepens, and over time, what once felt like clashing differences becomes complementary wisdom. But it takes work, it takes patience, it takes both of them softening just enough to let the other in. When that happens, communication between them stops being a battleground and becomes a bridge. A bridge that connects Scorpio's emotional depth with Taurus's emotional steadiness. A bridge that allows them to speak not just in words, but in presence. In trust, in truth. That's when their love becomes unshakable. Not because they never argue, but because they've learned how to argue together. Physical intimate connection. Let's be honest, the physical chemistry between a Scorpio man and Taurus woman? It's not just intense, it's magnetic in a way that almost defies logic. This is the kind of connection where the moment their hands touch, the air around them shifts. It's not just about attraction, it's about recognition, something primal and cosmic colliding in the physical world. It's not hyperbole to say that their intimate connection can feel like a full-body spiritual awakening. Scorpio is often labeled the most sexual sign in the zodiac, and not without reason. But it's not about the act itself, it's about what it means. For a Scorpio man, sex isn't a hobby or a physical urge to be satisfied, it's a pathway to the soul. It's layered with intensity, meaning, and emotional exploration. He wants to uncover you, not just physically, but emotionally, psychologically, even spiritually. He doesn't just want your body, he wants access to your truth. And here's the twist. Taurus, though outwardly more composed, maybe even more sensual. Ruled by Venus, she approaches intimacy through the five senses. She delights in touch, texture, scent, rhythm. Her world is filled with silk sheets, soft lighting, slow music, skin-on-skin connection. She's not impulsive, but she's deeply physical. She believes that love should be felt in the body before it's defined in words. So when these two come together physically, it's not fast or reckless. It's not about immediate gratification. It's about build-up, anticipation, presence. They're both fixed signs, they don't rush anything, including intimacy. Which means when they finally surrender to each other, it feels monumental. And once that connection is made, it's not fleeting. It's claimed. Together, they don't just have sex, they merge. They create something sacred in the space between their bodies. For Scorpio, it's a process of unveiling, a shedding of layers. He touches not to possess, but to transform. For Taurus, it's a process of grounding, of anchoring her emotions through physical connection. She touches not to excite, but to nurture. Their styles are different, but deeply complementary. Scorpio brings depth. Taurus brings devotion. Scorpio ignites the fire. Taurus holds the flame. There's this unspoken understanding between them that what happens in their bedroom is not just physical, it's a silent conversation between souls. But the real magic only happens when they trust each other. That's the gatekeeper to everything. Scorpio, despite his outward confidence, can't fully surrender physically unless he feels emotionally safe. He needs to know he can be vulnerable without being betrayed. He needs to know that the rawness he offers won't be used against him. That his intensity won't be mocked or minimized. Taurus, in turn, needs consistency. She doesn't give her body easily, and once she does, she expects emotional follow-through. If she senses that Scorpio is playing mind games or using sex as a weapon or escape, she'll pull back. For her, true intimacy requires emotional presence. She needs to feel held, not just touched. When those needs are met, when Scorpio feels safe to be vulnerable, and Taurus feels consistently loved, their physical relationship becomes transformative. It's not just an expression of love, it's a healing force, the kind that helps them process emotion, reconnect after conflict, or simply remind each other that beneath all their differences lies this powerful, undeniable connection. Sex becomes a sacred space for them. It's where they stop thinking and start being. It's where Scorpio sheds his psychological armor, and Taurus lets down her emotional walls. In those moments, they are not fighting, not analyzing, not guarding. They are simply together, raw and real. And this connection doesn't fade over time, it deepens. In fact, the more emotionally attuned they become outside the bedroom, the more electric the chemistry inside it grows. Scorpio becomes more giving, more open. Taurus becomes more daring, more emotionally expressive. They evolve together through touch, learning each other's rhythms, fears, desires. And when life gets chaotic, when work is stressful, when emotions run high, when misunderstandings happen, this physical bond acts like a grounding wire. It brings them back, it reminds them why they chose each other in the first place. It cuts through pride and confusion and ego. In each other's arms, they find clarity, silence, truth. Even their arguments can eventually lead to deeper intimacy, if they use that physical connection not as a distraction, but as a way to realign. To speak without words, to apologize without defenses. Their bodies learn each other's language long before their minds figure out how to translate the feelings. And for Scorpio, who needs depth, and Taurus, who needs stability, this physical relationship becomes the ultimate expression of commitment. It's not just about pleasure. It's about anchoring their love in something tangible. It's about building trust, moment by moment, breath by breath. This is why their physical and intimate connection is one of the most powerful parts of their relationship. It's not a bonus feature. It's a core feature. It's where they reconnect when words fall short. It's where they go when life feels overwhelming. It's where they remember that no matter how different they are in the mind or in conflict, their hearts beat to the same rhythm when they touch. In that space, dark, quiet, honest, they find each other again and again. And that's not just passion. That's alchemy, shared values, life goals. Here's where they align more than anyone expects. On the surface, the Scorpio man and Taurus woman may appear wildly different, him with his emotional intensity and mystery, her with her calm demeanor and grounded presence. But peel back the layers, and you'll find a shared foundation built on values that run deeper than surface compatibility. This is not a pair that comes together on fleeting interests. Their bond is rooted in life principles, in what they believe matters most. And when they discover how aligned their inner compasses truly are, they unlock a kind of stability that most couples only dream of. Both Scorpio and Taurus crave security, not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, and relationally. They want to know where they stand. They want something that won't vanish when things get hard. These two are not driven by the thrill of temporary highs or Instagram-worthy milestones. They want the real thing, the long game. They seek permanence in a world obsessed with what's next. Loyalty is a cornerstone of their value system. Neither takes love lightly, and both expect exclusivity and devotion. A Scorpio man is fiercely loyal, almost to a fault. When he commits, he does so with every ounce of his being. He doesn't waver, and he doesn't entertain anyone else. The Taurus woman is equally steadfast. She doesn't fall quickly, but once she gives her heart, it's all in. Together, their loyalty becomes a sacred bond, a safe zone where betrayal simply isn't part of the vocabulary. Legacy is another powerful motivator for both. Scorpio is drawn to transformation and impact. He wants to leave something behind. Taurus is drawn to comfort and consistency. She wants to build something that lasts. Put these two together, and you have a couple that doesn't just want a relationship, they want a life. A meaningful, structured, fruitful life that they can shape with intention and pride. They value quality over quantity in every area. Whether it's friendships, possessions, or time, they both prefer fewer, deeper, richer experiences over shallow abundance. They won't waste energy on superficial pursuits. They're the couple who would rather spend a quiet weekend improving their home than party for the sake of appearance. They understand the value of peace, of presence, of choosing each other every day in a world full of distractions. Scorpio may be more emotionally complex, even shadowed at times. He's fascinated by the deeper truths of life, power, fear, death, transformation. These themes don't scare him, they inspire him. He wants his life to mean something. Taurus, on the other hand, is more practically grounded. She's focused on stability, health, comfort, and peace. She doesn't need emotional chaos to feel alive. She finds fulfillment in tangible success and inner calm. Yet somehow, these differences complement rather than conflict. Where Scorpio brings intensity, Taurus brings stability. Where Taurus brings predictability, Scorpio brings growth. They learn from each other, without needing to change the other. They both want a stable home, not just physically, but emotionally. A place that's theirs, a refuge from the chaos of the world, somewhere they can rest without fear. This mutual desire creates a deeply shared vision early in the relationship. They dream of building a sanctuary. Whether it's a city apartment or a country home, what matters is that it's a space filled with safety, trust, and mutual effort. A partner they can trust is non-negotiable. Neither Scorpio nor Taurus plays with loyalty. Trust is earned slowly, but once it's there, it's the oxygen in their connection. They both need to feel safe in their love, free to be flawed, growing, evolving, and still accepted. This kind of emotional safety allows them to weather storms others can't. Financial security is a mutual goal. While Scorpio might not always be driven by material success in the traditional sense, he does care deeply about personal power and the ability to provide. Taurus, more so than most signs, is keenly aware of money's role in comfort and freedom. She's practical, financially cautious, and focused on the long term. When their values align around financial goals, saving, investing, building, it becomes a shared mission. They're not the couple arguing over credit cards, they're the couple building a portfolio. Emotional safety is another shared priority. Scorpio needs depth and emotional intimacy. He needs to feel like his inner world isn't too much for someone else. Taurus provides that steady, non-judgmental presence that helps him open up over time. She doesn't pry, she just waits. And when he's ready, she's there. Conversely, Taurus needs to feel emotionally respected, never manipulated, never pressured. Scorpio, once he trusts her, becomes incredibly protective of her emotional peace. They look after each other's hearts with a fierce tenderness. Loyalty, above all, this cannot be overstated. Scorpio is intensely loyal, and betrayal cuts him to the soul. Taurus is just as unwavering. When they commit, it's for the long haul. This shared value of unshakable commitment turns their bond into a fortress. Even when life throws challenges their way, they cling to each other. They'd rather work through hard seasons than throw away something that took years to build. If they share common goals, like owning a home, starting a family, building a business, or even creating a joint creative project, they become each other's most valuable teammate. They work hard, they plan smart, and they invest deeply. Scorpio brings passion, vision, and the hunger to evolve. Taurus brings patience, consistency, and the ability to turn vision into reality. Scorpio strategizes. Taurus executes. Together, they're not just dreaming, they're doing. And this is what makes them one of the most quietly powerful couples in the zodiac. They may not broadcast their relationship online. They may not flaunt grand romantic gestures. But what they're building, it's real, it's steady, it's meaningful. It's the kind of partnership that lasts decades, not just seasons. They aren't afraid to work hard for the life they want. They take their time, make careful decisions, and support each other every step of the way. They challenge each other to grow without forcing change. They create rituals, traditions, a shared language. They become each other's home. Together, Scorpio and Taurus don't just chase goals, they build legacies. Whether it's a family name, a career empire, or simply a life full of deep, intentional love, they're committed to creating something that reflects their shared values: security, devotion, truth, and trust. And when they look back years from now, they'll see exactly what they've built, not just a relationship but a life. One brick, one heartbeat, one promise at a time. Final thoughts. So, is the Scorpio man and Taurus woman match written in the stars? Or is it destined to crash and burn? The answer, as with most things in astrology and in love, is far more nuanced than a simple yes or no. It's not about fate alone, it's about choice. About what each of them is willing to bring, to risk, to evolve within themselves for the sake of something that can't be duplicated. This relationship has the potential to be a once-in-a-lifetime connection, but only if they understand the power they're playing with. This is one of the most powerful pairings in the zodiac, not because it's the easiest, but because it demands the most growth. Scorpio and Taurus are both fixed signs. That means once they lock eyes, once they decide this is it, they're in. Fully. But that same unwavering nature can lead to emotional gridlock if they stop listening, if they stop evolving. Their strength is also their weakness. It's what binds them and, at times, what breaks them. But what makes this match stand out, what makes it legendary, is that if they do commit to learning each other's emotional language, they can create a bond so unshakable it feels like it was forged in another lifetime. The Scorpio man is not here for surface-level anything. He wants intensity, truth, and the kind of love that strips you down and builds you back up stronger. The Taurus woman wants loyalty, peace, and a partnership that feels like home in a world full of chaos. Together, they can give each other exactly what they crave, if they stop seeing each other as opposition, and start seeing each other as balance. This match thrives when both partners understand their differences are not threats. Taurus's calm is not emotional detachment, it's her version of strength. Scorpio's intensity is not manipulation, it's his need to feel deeply and authentically. When they start interpreting each other with generosity instead of defensiveness, they uncover something truly rare, unconditional acceptance. That's not to say it's easy. Far from it. The Scorpio man may wrestle with jealousy, emotional control, or fears of abandonment. The Taurus woman may struggle with emotional stubbornness, resistance to change, or an aversion to conflict. But when these challenges arise, their long-term success depends on whether they react with fear or respond with love. The difference between the two is everything. At its best, this relationship is transformational. It brings out the best and worst in both partners, and then dares them to choose growth over comfort. Scorpio brings emotional depth, unshakable devotion, and protection that borders on sacred. He won't let the world hurt who he loves. He stands guard with heart and soul. Taurus brings emotional safety, physical comfort, and a level of loyalty that becomes the foundation of everything Scorpio has always wanted but never believed was real. Her love is not loud, but it's immovable. They challenge each other, constantly. Scorpio will force Taurus to feel things more deeply, to engage beyond her usual emotional boundaries. Taurus will force Scorpio to slow down, to calm the storm, to find peace in presence rather than passion alone. If they resist these lessons, they may clash. If they embrace them, they grow. And in that growth, they find healing, not just for the relationship but for themselves. Because at the heart of this pairing is a unique truth. Each of them is the medicine the other didn't know they needed. Scorpio teaches Taurus to embrace intensity. Taurus teaches Scorpio to trust stillness. Scorpio pulls Taurus into emotional transformation. Taurus pulls Scorpio back to emotional grounding. And if they stay open, truly open, they don't just love each other. They heal each other. But none of it happens without conscious effort. They have to show up, every day, in the little things and the big things. They have to choose love over ego, vulnerability over defense, listening over assuming. If they fall into patterns of silence, control, or resentment, the relationship can become toxic. But if they practice compassion, curiosity, and honesty, they can become a legendary pair. So, can a Scorpio man and Taurus woman make it work? Yes, emphatically yes, but only if they both want it. Want it enough to look at themselves with honesty. Want it enough to apologize when necessary. Want it enough to evolve for the sake of the relationship, not to change who they are, but to become more of who they were meant to be together. Because when this match is good, it's life-changing. It's sensual, it's stable, it's deeply emotional and deeply physical. It's a connection that others watch with quiet envy, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. And real love, the kind that sees you, stays with you, and grows with you, is always worth the work. So if you're a Scorpio man who's found his Taurus queen, or a Taurus woman intrigued by the mysterious pull of a Scorpio, just know this: the universe may have handed you the blueprint, but it's you who builds the masterpiece. And if you do, it won't just last, it will thrive. Enjoyed this deep dive? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a breakdown like this. Got another zodiac duo you want us to analyze? Drop it in the comments, and check out the links in the description for more astrology content, playlists, and social media.